Okay, welcome to the first episode of Redneck Rachel Ray. Just kidding. I don't want to get sued. I'm getting ready to make ossobucco, alright? Or my version of it anyway. It's a fairly cheap cut of meat. I got these for like $3.50, under $4 a piece, alright? And they look like that. Alright. Now I'm going to show you a few quick things about like cutting stuff. Alright, I'm going to cut some onions. I'm going to cut some peppers out of my new fridge. I'm going to cut some mushrooms. Okay. Mushrooms, peppers, onions. Alright, now carrots. Now, these are my essentials. I got, how do I do this? Okay, redneck essentials for ossobucco. Carrots, peppers, beef shank. Normally it's made with a lamb, or a veal shank rather, and usually I like to get a real thick cut, but this is all I could afford. And that's all they had. You gotta watch for the nice little marrow in the center. You need an onion, you need some mushrooms, you need a sharp knife, you need a knife sharpener, and of course you got to have your bam bong, cold beer, some green onions. You're going to have a hot pan. I love to use my grandmother's iron skillet. It's the best pan I've ever had in my life. I'm going to use rigatoni, got some salted water, getting ready to go, and a little diced tomato. That's pretty much all you're going to need. Now, more in a second. Okay. Everybody trips on how to cut an onion. It's not freaking rocket science, okay? I use my little knife sharpener. Unfortunately, I don't have my good kitchen knife. Okay, got my sharp knife. All you do is cut off the end, cut off the other end, throw that crap in the... Cut it in half, peel it, okay? You don't have to do any of that fancy sideways little tiny bullshit. All you got to do is cut thin slices, alright? Thin slices if you want them diced, alright? And then just cut them into small dices. It ain't rocket science. It's pretty simple. You'll have a little few extra, larger strings, but for the most part, you got diced onions without anything stupid or fancy or trying to cut yourself to shreds. Alright? If you want thicker, you can always just throw your knife through it a little bit if they're not small enough for you. It works really well. Alright, if you want thicker, you just cut a thicker slice and don't, like I said, it ain't rocket science. We ain't trying to reinvent NASA here. Now, as far as like mushroom, oops, you don't want to clean them. Alright, but I always cut them in half, and then it's real simple. You don't have to even worry about where your knife's going to land. Alright, now, green onions. You want to cut green onions? Wash them first, of course. Set them out. Peel off the nasty ones, cut you off the little ends, and hold them tight together. That's all. Just pull your knife through, hold them tight together, pull your knife through. If you got a sharp knife, You won't get the accordions. Alright? That's pretty much how you do green onions. It's not rocket science. One thing to remember with mushrooms, the earlier you put them into a sauce or something simmering or braising or whatever, if it's going to cook for more than 20 minutes, you're going to want to cut your mushrooms bigger. It ain't rocket science. Alright, but you get the idea. Hot skillet, about a tablespoon or two of grease or oil. Got my rigatoni going. And my salted water. Nothing fancy. Got all my mushrooms, my peppers, my onions, my scallions. Alright. Cut my carrots in just a minute. Whenever you're browning something that's going to cook in like a crock pot or a slow roast or an oven or something like that, don't ever move the meat. Alright? Move the pan around if you're getting hot spots. Of course, most people know the hot spots in their pans already and on their stoves, but if you get a hot spot, just move the pan around. Don't touch the meat. Let the meat brown really good, because you want that shit to stick to the bottom of the pan to make your little sauce thing a little yummier. All right, and the meat, a little bit of garlic salt, a little bit of pepper, all good, baby. Right on. Now, once you get that brown caramelization going and that marrow in that center of that bone starts to melt a little bit, you might have to cut off a piece of fat here and there. That's when you want to add your carrots, if you add carrots. Some people won't add carrots, but I dice up some carrots just to make it look pretty. Add them in when you think you're ready, and then we'll turn this down to minimum and just let that kind of stew for a minute. Turn that off. Now, I'm going to let those carrots cook, and I'm going to cover that shit. I'm going to let them carrots cook for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to add all my peppers, onions, and I'm going to wait on the mushrooms for about 15 minutes. At least 45 minutes. At least 45 minutes for those. Those are fairly thin. But yeah, it's going to be good. Oh my God, I need a bomb hit. Alright, it's going to cook like this for probably about 20 minutes with all the nice stuff underneath of it. A little bit more garlic salt, a little bit more pepper. Alright, I didn't put any fresh garlic in it yet. I put that in the sauce. Actually, it's not fresh garlic. I use minced garlic, but it's the same shit. When you're cooking cheap, you use what you can get. Alright, so that'll cook for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to add the sauce and the mushrooms, and I'm just using diced tomatoes for the sauce. It's not really a sauce, but I doctor that up nicely with a little bit of garlic and a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. Okay, I got the sauce and the mushrooms. Actually, it's just a can of diced tomatoes, but I did put a little bit of beer in with the meat before I put in the tomatoes and the mushrooms, just to give it a little bit of a base. Alright, now at this point you can cover it and you can let it simmer on the stove top for 40 minutes or so, as long as you keep watching it. Make sure it didn't bubble out all the liquid. You want some of it to leak out, evaporate. Or you can do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put it in the oven for about 35 minutes at 325, and I'm going to cover it with frickin' cheese. Yes, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I made. Let me show you something right here. That right there, oh yeah, that's, we got to dig in there and get that marrow out of there. See, I got my knife in there ready to dig that marrow out. Look at this. Watch this. Look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh baby. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. Alright, that's my ossobucco. Hope you enjoy it. Try to make it. It's not that hard.